Today we are going to discuss about handling this drag and drop feature with the help of Selenium and Accents API. Okay, we have already seen some of the examples which were created locally, so I'm going to test this example, which is actually a live website. Okay, so right click and copy the website where we need to go. Okay, before that I need to set up the project. So let's create another class and have this entire main method, and we'll use only those code which we need. So let's close everything, create a new Java class. So source example events demo control n new class, and I'm going to use Java class. So drag drop live demo. Fine. So let's click OK. Now the class is created. Fine. Let's paste the code, maximize it. So only thing that we need is, okay, let's remove this I. Fine. Here we have the Chrome driver and we're navigating to the URL. This is not the URL. We're going to tell which URL we need to go. Maximizing source destination. We're going to remove each and everything from here, and we'll go till the bottom. Fine. Now this is the default code that we're going to use. Fine. So in this page, in this web page, what I need to do is, first I need to navigate to this URL, copy and paste it over here. Done. Next step is finding these two. This is my source area, right? This is the source element and this is the target element, right? What I need using the Accents API, what I can do is I can define the source element and target element, and I can call this drag and drop method, which is actually going to drag this element and drop it in, drag the element from source and drop it in the target. So when that is happening, there is, you can see one window which is coming off, and it asks us to click on this OK. It doesn't have anything else, so we need to click on this OK. So you're going to see how this window events can also be handled. So I'm going to click on OK. Fine. Then I'm going to check if this element has actually moved from this element and is available in the target element. Okay, so to do that, I have already navigated to the page. Next thing that I need to do is inspect the source element. So let's inspect. There are multiple elements. Okay, in this first element, bigger element, we have small images. So let's focus on one element now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this source to the target element. Click on this. Now we have got the image location. So this is an image actually. It is having a div id equal to div source. So always remember, the first priority always goes to the id. Now here we have it. The id is available, so I'm going to use this id. Okay, but within that id you can see there are lots of images present. Okay, so if we talk about the XPath, okay, if you talk about the XPath, so if I use this id in the XPath and I want the next image, the first image, how the XPath is going to look like. So I'm copying the first id XPath. Okay, let's go back to our code. What I need is I need to create the source element, web element. Okay, I need to import it. Source image, say for example, equals to driver dot find elements element by dot XPath. Okay, and the XPath that I have copied from Google Chrome, I'm going to paste it over here. Okay, so you can see this XPath is having this double slash which says that find me all the elements throughout the entire page. All the elements, star means all type of div, font, image, whatever, like image or span or input, anything that comes into mind, but it's going to find the element which is having the id equal to dvsourc. And you can see here there is a problem with Java. Java takes the string values in double quotes. So when I try to enter this value, there is a problem. It has now this is the double quote starting, so it has understood that this is the starting of the string. But over here you can see this double quote is ending, so that means this is the only string which it can understand. And there is this syntax error. It doesn't understand what this div source is. So we need to give it a single quote and the end of XPath as single quote. So we can use anything. We can use the double quote for XPath, or we can use the single quote for XPath. So if you are in the browser understands both the single quote and double quote similarly. It doesn't make any difference. But in Java, when we talk with Java takes single quotes and double quotes differently. So now we have this single quote, and this is the XPath that we have received. But if you remember, if you look at this, it says that there is one of the elements with the ID dv source. If we go back into our page, see, this is the element which it is talking about. But I want the next image. So if I say dv source slash img, then it is going to return me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or more than 7 elements. Initially it used to be 8 elements. So when I use dv source slash forward slash and img, then it is going to return me all the images in a list. But I want only one image. So I'm going to provide the images index. What am I going to do? This is the first thing which is going to return me the div. Within that div, I have one of the images and I am interested about the first index. Okay, so this is the first image which it is going to select, and it is going to perform the drag and drop operation on this source image. The first part is done. Anyone having any doubt in this? How I have selected this image? Okay, so is it clear by everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, Sanya. So tell me, Sanya, if I want to select only only the last element, okay, in XPath there is a function, okay, there is a function which says the last element or the first element. You don't need to give the index 1 or 2 or 3, okay, but you can use that function which is going to select all the images. Okay, image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the images, and it is going to return you only one image. So you can use the XPath last function or the XPath first function. So let me search the proper syntax. XPath first element from array. See, this is one of the example. It says find the bookstore. Within that bookstore, find the book element whose attribute location. So there is one attribute like ID equal to this. So this is going to be location equal to US. Okay, and it has converted that into an array, and it is trying to get the first index. No, we want the function. This is not the actual one. We can use first and last. Okay, let's do this way. Function example. This is a function, XPath function, which is returning the text value, and the function first is not working. Anyways, we can give it a try on Firefox later on. So right now let's focus on the first element that we have received. Okay, so Sunny understood how I have come to the first element, right? Div source is the XPath, then slash img1.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the source element. Then I'm going to create another element that's called as the target element. Okay, target image. So the target image is going to be this entire division. Okay, so I'm going to inspect. So click on this left arrow. It's very similar to Firebug in Firefox. Click on this element, and now it is asking us for inspecting. So now I am going to inspect. So when I have the mouse on these, you can see it is selecting a lot of area on the web page, not just this division but a lot of area. So I'm going to find actually which element is that. So when I expand this, you can see there is one image. Okay, and this image is something which I have dragged from the earlier page. So let's refresh the page and we'll look at the initial how this web page was looking. So fine, so this is the div. Okay, this entire div, it says you can drop it over here, right? So when we drag and drop the element within the div, it's going to work, as well as when I drag the element outside this div. No, it's not working. So what I need is I need to drag and drop the element just within this much amount of area, this much area. There is one more div Let's refresh the page. Find the second element. Okay. So there is a chance. See, when I'm focusing on this element, it's not just this much. It's even more than that. Towards this also, this element is visible. When we say selenium to drag this first element and drop on this entire page, selenium may drop it here, may drop it over here also. But it's not going to accept if you're dropping it outside this area. But let's see, let's give it a try, because I cannot have any element, I don't have any identifier or any element within this which says we can drop it here, like which says this is the only element which we need to focus. Okay, anyway, so this is the element which we need if you want to drop something. So let's look at this. It says the id is dv dest, so we can use this one. So let's copy this one, and we're going to go back to our code, and we're going to find the element with the id selector if you want by.id, and this is the id. Okay, this is the id dvdest. So we're going to find this element and drop our element over here. Fine, now we have found both the elements. Next thing is we are going to call the drag and drop method. So before dragging and dropping, we have already waited for 2 seconds. Okay, now let's perform the drag and drop. Drag and drop. It is asking for the driver, yes, and it is asking for the source element, that is source image, and the target image. Now this has performed the task. Then I am going to take another 2 seconds, thread dot sleep for, so for example 1 second, and I'm going to take the screenshot. I need to actually verify if the element has actually been dragged and dropped. So we're going to find the code which takes the screenshot, copy and paste. So after drag underscore drop, we can take like before, let's take 2 screenshots.
Sir,
Okay, go on.
sir, where you take a drag and drop driver source image and target image?
So this is one of the methods, Anya. This is a static method. This method you can find if you control and click on this. This method is present just below the main method. Okay, over here. If you want to do the task over there, you can copy the code and paste it there. Not an issue. But as I have mentioned it in a different method, I have brought the code over here, and I am calling that code from here. I am calling the method. Okay, this method is present just below the main method. Understood?
Okay.
Or you still have doubt? Tell me. Before.
It is a predefined method by Java.
No, yeah, it is a not predefined by Java. See, this method I have created. Okay, we have created this method which is having like the name we have given. If you want to give it Sanya, it's working perfectly fine. It's not going to create any problem. Okay, so this method is not defined by Java, it's defined by us.
Okay.
And this drag and drop feature method of the actions API. Okay, over here you can see another method called drag and drop. This is another method which is present within this actions class. Okay, and this is available with the Selenium. So you can see this method, if you put your mouse on that, it says actions org.openqa.selenium interactions actions drag and drop. So this is the method which is available with the Selenium API. Okay, we're calling that method, and again we have given that method a different name. So let's do so before drag and drop, I'm taking an image, I'm calling it before drag and after drag drop. Okay, so taking 2 screenshots. See, I'm not like I'm taking this reference get screenshot as file, and I'm taking the screenshot over here. Fine, now that is done. After waiting for 1 second, now once that is done, we're going to okay, let's do one thing. Let's write the code later on. So right now let's see if the drag and drop feature is working properly, because this target division, it may create a problem. Okay, so we're going to see. So let's restore this page and let's run the code. right click. It's going to run on Google Chrome. Yeah, right click, run as Java application. Okay, it has worked for us, but we have not handled this. So have you seen this? Like, did you see, guys? It actually did this drag and drop, but we're going to see that in image. Let's refresh this page, and before drag, so this is how the page looked before dragging, and after drag could not happen because the problem was the page was not ready to be taken screenshot, because there was, after dragging and dropping, there is this alert box which we need to click. Okay, we need to click OK after that, but we didn't do that and we tried to take the screenshot, so we failed actually. So let's look at this error, and it is going to tell us what error actually happened. So it says going to look at our code com.example drag drop event main. So this is the line number where the error occurred. So let's click on that. You can see when it is trying to take the screenshot, okay, it failed because this time it had a alert box open. Okay, so that is the problem which happened. So before taking any screenshot, we need to make sure that the alert boxes are clicked properly. The page is just, the page is displayed. Okay, we're on the web page, not on the alert box. So now we're going to write a new code which is going to basically click on this alert. Okay, it's going to click on this alert. Okay, it's going to click on OK. For that, one second. Okay, I don't recall the code. Okay, switch to with the method where we need to switch to the alert. Okay, this is the method that we're going to use. Fine. Okay, so right now after drag and drop we have a alert box open, right? So what we need to do is we need to handle it using the alert class. Okay, and when we type alert and press control space, it is asking for importing that. You can see this is the interface, not a class actually, alert interface. So I'm clicking on that alert, so it is imported. So now let's call it alert box equal to driver dot switch to is the method where we need to switch from the browser, current browser that is open, to the alert. So switch to, and we're going to say alert because at the same time there cannot be two alerts located. So we're going to switch to the only alert that is displayed, and if there is no alert box present, if you call this method, it is going to throw some error. So now we have the reference of that alert box over. So what we need to do is alert box. There are some methods which we can call like cancel, okay, accept and dismiss. So if you're clicking on accept, if you call accept method, it's going to click on the OK button. If we say dismiss, if it has a cancel button, it's going to click on the cancel button. So we're going to call the accept method right now. So after accepting that, so let's wait for another 1 second so that we can see, yeah, actually it has accepted that. So now we are back into our web page, so we can start writing the code. We can take the screenshot and see in this example I have tried to basically switch to an alert and click the dismiss. So we're going to see this example as well. Okay, and it will have multiple types of dialog boxes. We're going to see that later on. So right now I have dragged and dropped the element. It was dragged and dropped, and then it is asking for an alert, and I'm taking the reference of alert using driver.switch to .alert, and that alert box .accept I'm calling so that it can click on the OK button. So let's run this code and let's see the output. And this time you should get both the screenshots. Okay, you can see it has clicked on OK and it has completed the code execution. So let's refresh the page and look at we have already seen before drag. This is how it looked. Okay, there is nothing dropped over here. Then we are going to see this image, that is after drag drop. You can see this element has been dragged and dropped over here. Okay, this is fine. So anyone having any doubt in this? Everyone fine with this? So we're going to talk more about this alert box in one more example. So right now we have dragged and dropped the element over here. So if you want to put the logic to check actually the element which I dragged and the element which is currently present after this step, the element which is currently present is the same element which I have dragged. And another thing that the first div is having like 6 elements. After dragging and dropping it should have 5 elements. Okay, 8 elements. From 8 I have dragged on 1 element, and this one should have 4 plus 3 7 elements. This one should have only 1 element. If you want to just assert that, if you want to check that condition, you can write some more code and you are going to use XPath for that. Okay, so this is a task for you guys. Can just give it a try and try to use the XPath functionality to find how many elements are present over here. Initially when you try to find the number of elements, that would be 8. After performing drag and drop, you're going to try again and see, okay, there are just 7 elements present. Okay, and initially when you have taken the number of elements present over here was 0, and after drag drop operation you are going to check the number of elements, that's going to be 1. So that is something which you can give it a try and you can send me the code. Okay, let me know if you have any issues in that part. Okay, so anyone having any doubt in this part, we need to talk about that, you can let me know, or I need to move to the next part. All fine for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So
Arey,
now,
one second,
okay, go on.
I'm disconnecting now.
Okay,
I'll go through the video on tomorrow.
no
Sorry to
issues.
say.
Okay, no issues. Yeah, you need to reach home first. Okay, bye. Good night. Good night. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the different types of alert box or the pop-ups. Specifically, the term which you use in software, it's called as pop-up. So we're going to talk about pop-ups now. Okay, so I have created one of the web pages in which we had multiple pop-ups. We can use that pop-up web page, or we can take one of the example from internet which we can practice. Okay, so anyone having any idea of any website which is having lots of pop-ups and any logic behind that, so we can basically test that website. Devas is fine. Do you have any website in mind which is actually having the pop-ups coming up? Or we can take one of the example from internet and we can start using that. JavaScript pop-up boxes in W3 Schools, so we can use this site, and but here are a limited number of pop-ups. We don't have the okay, this is having just okay, please enter your name. Yeah, this is the example we are actually looking after. So if you click on this button, it says enter your name. Okay, can you see the screen, guys? When you click on this right button, it is opening up this alert box, but it's not just alert, it's a prompt. It's prompting for our name. So you can see there is some default value which is already there, and by default it is selected. So if you want to send some value, send some keys, say for example area, and if you click, now there are two buttons, you can switch to this alert and send the keys, then you can click on OK or you can click on cancel. So if you press OK, you can see there is some event which is happening on the page. It says hello Arya, how are you today? Fine. So next time when we don't enter any value and if we press cancel, user cancel the prompt. So these are the things which are happening. We can basically assert the result. We can see if it is actually working. Okay. So this is the web page. So let's do one thing. Let's copy paste this entire HTML code. I'm copying this entire HTML code and I'm going to save it on my system. Then I'm going to navigate to that file system and I'm going to try it. So I'm going to see if it is actually working on my system as well, and I'm going to test on Google Chrome after that. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to create a new HTML page. Okay, so let's save this file, and within this XPath example you can see I'm creating a right click, new, okay, new. Now there is a new file option and I'm going to give it the name. Within this XPath example, this project, I'm going to create this file that alerts, okay, alerts underscore example dot html. So this is the extension which is needed if you want this page to be run on a browser. So let's click on finish. Now it has created a HTML page for us. I'm going to paste the contents that I've copied from website. Now let's save this code and let's run this HTML page on a browser. So open with, you can click web browser, which is going to open within this Eclipse, but it may not be that much efficient because we cannot inspect the element. So what am I going to do is I'm going to open this element on the system's default browser. So right click, go to open with system editor. So this is going to open with your system browser. So this is the Google Chrome browser which is default in my system. So you can see this page is open. So I'm going to perform those operations, right? It's going to ask me the enter my name. If you press enter, it's okay, it's working. Otherwise, if you press cancel, it's also working. Fine. So I'm going to use this code. I'm going to navigate to this URL and I'm going to click on this try button. To do that, I need to inspect. Okay. So in inspection, I can find the location of this try button. Okay. Okay. Before that, let's set up the code, and we are going to set up the code. We're going to copy paste this much code. And we don't need this drag and drop now. We can create another class, new class, and we are going to call alerts, or let's call it pop-up example. Fine, we're calling it pop-up example.java, and let's click on finish. Within that I can paste the entire code, and if you look at this, it is having drag drop, all these features. We don't need that. So let's remove everything from this till the end. We may take some screenshots in between, so let's skip this screenshot as it is. Okay, because this is an alert box, you cannot take screenshot, so let's remove that. Fine. Now this is the driver, opening up the Chrome driver, and then it's navigating to the URL. We're going to navigate to our file system, so we're going to copy this URL. Right click, copy, paste in our code. Fine, that's done. Now we have maximized the window, thread.sleep 2 seconds, and next thing that I'm going to do is find out this try it button. Okay, so how to find that out? Inspect. I have clicked on this arrow, now it has turned blue. Now I need to select the try button. Click on that. Now that element is inspected. You can see this is a button, on click, these things, but you can see this element, it doesn't have any identifier, right? It doesn't have any identifier. So how are we going to do that? We don't have ID, we don't have name, and of course we don't have a class. It's not a linked text, so we cannot use these functions. Only thing that is remaining is the XPath. So let's right click on this element and copy the XPath. Okay, so let's go back to our code and find the try it button. So web element try it button equals to driver dot find element by dot XPath, and we're going to paste it. You can see this is the absolute XPath. Okay, and this is finding the element starting from HTML body then button. And if you want to convert it into a relative XPath element, you can remove these two parts. So it is going to search the entire page and find this element with the name button. So let's save the code. Sorry, and let's try to click on this element. So try it button dot perform the click operation. Then let's wait for thread.sleep, wait for 2 seconds, and then we can quit the driver. So before quitting, and okay, let's see this code in action. So let's run this example, right click, run as Java application. It's opening up Google Chrome and it's going to click. Yeah, it has clicked. See, this has found the element with the relative XPath that we have given, and you can see the relative XPath was created because this page, it doesn't have any more button, so I can find only button in the page. Fine, now it worked. Now we have an alert box which is open. So what we are going to do next, now as the alert box is present, what we are going to do, we are going to navigate, we are going to switch back or switch into this alert box. So driver dot switch to dot driver dot switch to dot alert. Okay, then is there any other method? No, we can take this alert. So driver dot switch to dot alert. Fine. Now this alert is the name alert box or the name prompt. So let's call it alert name alert box equals to. So we have got an access, we have got the reference to that alert which is displayed on the page. Next thing that I'm going to do is click on the OK button without sending any value. Let's click on the OK button. So name alert box dot accept. I have accepted that. So, and one more thing, before accepting I need to wait for 1 second and see this alert box in action. Thread dot sleep 1 seconds. So now what I'm doing, I'm finding the element, clicking on that. Now the alert box is open. I'm waiting for 1 second, then I'm clicking on the element. I don't need to wait for 2 seconds over here. Let's wait for 1 more second. So after accepting the alert box, I am closing driver.quit. Fine. So let's run the code and see the result in action. Right click, run as Java application. And it has navigated to the page. Yes, it has clicked on OK. You can see the output is displayed. So now that is done. So now the next thing is to send some values into that text box and also click on the dismiss button. Okay, so let's comment this out. Okay, and let's call the name alert box dot dismiss. So it is just click, it is going to click on the cancel button. So let's run the code. It has clicked on the alert box. Now it is clicking on cancel, user cancel. Fine. So this is how the alert boxes they basically work. Now I'm going to enter some value and then I'm going to call the accept, because after clicking on accept it is going to show me the name, the value that I have entered. So what am I going to do now is I'm going to name alert box dot, you can see send keys method is there and I can pass the name Selenium guy. Fine. So it has sent Selenium guy and clicked on accept. So next thing is it is waiting for 1 second. Let's wait for 2 seconds so that we can see actually it has clicked on that. Okay, and the actual value that we have sent is displayed on the page. So let's run the code. You can see the output Selenium guy. So hope this you have understood how this is working and how we are switching to a different alert box. Okay, and how we are sending the data. Okay, so anyone having any doubt? No, fine. Sanya, is it okay? Okay, go on, Sanya.
Sir, after clicking on OK, there is some error messages showing like you are cancelled, or if click on OK, then hello, something like that.
Where? So let me open this. This is the page, right? So now this is the page
hello,
how it
Harry
looks
Potter.
initially.
Yes.
Okay, so let's click on this.
Yes.
So what should I click on now? Okay, or and
Okay.
okay, and you can see hello Harry Potter. This is not the error.
Hello, Harry.
Okay,
Okay.
this is the
If
message
you
that this wants to give.
if I want to retrieve this message, then there is any something method
Yes, there is
like get
available.
methods.
No, not like that. See, this is some element, right? This is some element. What we need,
Okay.
if we want to access that element, we need to find the identifier for that element, right? Like ID, class, etc. So let's do that. You can see the inspect element, inspect, fine, and click on this. This is the element that we want. Click on that. Now you can go down and you can see there is this p id equals to demo, and you can driver.find element by .id demo, and you can get text. So you're going to get this value, right?
Okay, sir.
So you can give it a try, Sanya. It's very simple, and just give it a try and let me know if you can see the value is actually present in that text or not.
So through find elements.
Through?
Through find elements.
Yeah,
Like
through
driver dot
driver.find
find
element or
elements and then
yes,
by export
yes, you
and
can
then
use.
sysouts.
Yes, yes. You can check if this after clicking driver.find, after calling driver.find element by.id demo, you have got the access to this element. You can call element.getText, so it will return you this entire text, and you can see if this text dot contains whatever name you have entered. Okay, you have entered Harry Potter, you can check text dot contains Harry Potter. So if it is there, then you can say yes, the test case has passed, because that is the main point of doing all this stuff. We need to check the functionality if it is working or not, right?
Right, sir.
So I hope you guys have understood. So if you have any doubts, so let me know. And as I have already told you in the last example, you're going to practice and you're going to try to find out if the proper element was dragged and dropped into its target or not, and if the count of images present in the source is decremented one by one or not. So it's a task. So try to do it, guys, and let me know if you're facing any issues. Fine. Good night, guys. See you later.